What would you do if someone tried to burn you alive? Imagine surviving an attack so brutal, it leaves you with burns on 90% of your body, and then using your last breath to ensure your attacker faces justice. For Judy Malinowski, this wasn't just survival, it was a fight for the truth. This is the story of a woman who turned unimaginable pain into a powerful voice for justice. If you're ready to dive into the incredible story of Judy Malinowski and her fight for justice, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more powerful true crime stories. Meet Judy Malinowski, a woman who turned unspeakable pain into a powerful fight for justice. Judy Malinowski, 31-year-old, grew up in Columbus, Ohio, with dreams of becoming a teacher, raising a family, and living a simple, happy life. But things took a turn when she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer at 27. Judy's battle with cancer was tough, but the real challenge came after. Following her surgery, she was given strong painkillers like OxyContin and Percocet to help with recovery. At first, the medication was necessary, but soon Judy became dependent on it and couldn't stop. Her addiction took over her life. She could no longer care for her two young daughters, which broke her heart. Her mother took one daughter and her sister took the other. During this dark time, Judy felt ashamed and lost, even saying she felt like scum because she couldn't overcome her addiction. But Judy wasn't ready to give up. In early 2015, she checked into rehab, determined to beat her addiction and get her life back. It wasn't easy, but she worked hard, and after months of recovery, she finally regained custody of her daughters. For a while, it looked like things were turning around. She was back with her family and rebuilding her future. Unfortunately, just as things were getting better, Judy got into a dangerous relationship that would lead to a heartbreaking tragedy. A toxic relationship with a man from her past turned Judy's fresh start into a nightmare. What happened next was beyond anyone's worst fears. Michael, 40-year-old, was a career criminal, constantly in trouble with the law. Michael's past was filled with criminal charges, including assault, domestic violence, and even stalking. His dangerous behavior only grew worse over time. Their relationship was rocky from the beginning, full of toxic arguments, fights, and tension. Michael often became violent, and Judy lived in constant fear. She even confided in friends that she was scared he might kill her one day. While Judy was with Michael Slager, she fell back into addiction. Michael would buy her drugs, even though he didn't use them himself. This created a harmful cycle where Judy became more and more dependent on him. Their relationship was full of constant fights. It was during one of these fights, while Judy was heading back to rehab in 2015, that things took a deadly turn. Judy's once hopeful life was now overshadowed by Michael's escalating violence, and sadly, her fears would soon become a terrifying reality. On August 2nd, 2015, the day began like any other, with Judy and Michael Slager making a routine stop at a gas station. But what unfolded next was like a scene from a nightmare. Slager had stopped at the gas station to buy cigarettes while he was on his way to the Parkside Addiction Treatment Center. Judy Malinowski was supposed to go there for her drug rehab. The couple had been arguing intensely. In a terrifying burst of anger, Michael Slager grabbed a can of gasoline and poured it all over Judy. Before she could react, he lit a match and set her on fire. Judy's screams for help echoed through the gas station, sending shivers down the spine of everyone present. In a moment of terrifying violence, Judy was set on fire in broad daylight. Witnesses and survivors of the scene reveal the shocking truth. Witnesses rushed to Judy's aid, desperately trying to help her. They were horrified to see her engulfed in flames. Michael Slager, who had initially watched in chilling silence, finally grabbed a fire extinguisher, but his actions came too late. By the time he tried to put out the fire, Judy had already suffered devastating injuries. The scene was chaotic, with Judy desperately trying to save herself and witnesses scrambling to help. Michael's shocking response, using the extinguisher only after watching her burn, left everyone stunned and horrified. Against all odds, Judy survived the horrifying attack, though it left her with burns covering 90% of her body. Her struggle was just beginning. Over the next 2 years, Judy faced unimaginable pain. She endured countless surgeries, endless hospital stays, and a battle against infections. Judy's fight for justice was just beginning. Discover how she turned her pain into a relentless pursuit of accountability. Even through all her pain, Judy's determination stayed strong. While she was suffering every day, she focused not only on surviving, but also on getting justice. She was determined to make sure her story was heard and that her attacker would face the consequences. Judy's fight for justice became her main goal, showing her amazing strength and resolve even in the toughest times. In a historic move, Judy became the first person in U.S. history to testify at her own murder trial, before she had even died. Despite her extreme pain, Judy's bravery shone through as she recounted the horrifying day that forever changed her life. Her recorded testimony was not just a brave act, it was a lifeline to justice. Doctors had to carefully adjust Judy's pain medication so she could stay clear-headed enough to tell her story. It was a difficult and emotional process, but Judy was determined. While lying in a hospital bed with 95% of her body covered in severe burns, including an arm that had been burned to the bone, Judy Malinowski bravely testified on video. Even though she was in immense pain, she described how Michael Slager had poured gasoline on her and set her on fire during a fight on August 2, 2015. Judy calls Slager completely evil during her testimony. Her emotional and courageous 3-hour video deposition was recorded just 5 months before she passed away on June 27, 2017, due to complications from her injuries. "He got these cans of gasoline that he had kept in the back of his truck," Judy said, describing the scene that unfolded in broad daylight at a Speedway gas station near Columbus, Ohio. "He ran around me and started pouring gasoline. He started at my head and worked his way down," she continued, revealing the shocking detail that gasoline had even gone down her throat as he soaked her. "I looked at him and he pulled a lighter out of his pocket and he started walking towards me," the severely burned Judy added. Her pain medications were reduced so she could clearly share her story. "I just remember crying and begging for help, and he lit me on fire." Surveillance footage from the ATM shows Judy falling to the ground as a bright orange fire engulfs her. Witnesses quickly called the police, which led Slager to grab a fire extinguisher and try to put out the flames. Malinowski's nurse said, "I've seen plenty of burns to her degree. I can't say I've seen many that survive past a few days. In the burn world, we have an equation for mortality, which is based on the patient's age and percent burn," she also added. In Judy's case, she was 31 and approximately 80% burned, so that made her 110% mortality. Slager, who was also taken to the hospital, told the police that the fire was an accident. He said he poured gasoline on Malinowski because she had thrown soda on him. According to Slager, after their argument, Malinowski sat on the grass at the gas station and asked him for a cigarette. He claimed that when he bent down to light it, her whole body caught fire. "I walked over to give her a light and that was it," he told detectives on body camera footage shown in the film. "She went up in flames and I couldn't believe it," he said. "I didn't think it would be like that." Slager was arrested right away and charged with felonious assault and aggravated arson. At the time, the maximum term in Ohio for the same offense was 11 years in jail, which is what he received. Judy was determined to get justice even from beyond the grave. Her recorded testimony was shown at Slager's sentencing hearing in July 2018. Just before the hearing, Slager changed his plea from not guilty to guilty of aggravated murder. Even though the crime could have led to the death penalty, Judy requested a lighter sentence. Ultimately, Slager was sentenced to life in prison without the chance of parole. Judy had forgiven him, and it was rightfully her decision, Bose, her mother, said. She also added, "I know that she was hoping that he would somehow find God or figure out his way out of the darkness." Judy's story didn't end with her death. It sparked a movement for change. Learn about Judy's foundation and the ongoing fight against domestic violence. She shared that the family honored Malinowski by creating Judy's Foundation shortly before her death. The nonprofit works to change federal laws related to domestic violence. Judy Malinowski may have lost her life, but her story and her courage live on. She faced unimaginable pain, but never gave up. Her fight for justice is something we will always remember. Even having burns covering 90% of her body, Judy's bravery led her to testify against Slager, becoming the first person in U.S. history to do so in her own murder trial before she died. Judy Malinowski's story, marked by unimaginable hardship, stands as a testament to her extraordinary courage and determination. inspiring others to fight for justice in the face of adversity.